Welcome. This is Vickilynn Haycraft with RealFoodLiving.com. Thanks so much for joining me in my kitchen today. We're going to be making corn and whole wheat tortillas based on my recipe from my book, Wrapping It Up, Making Sensational All-Occasion Wrappers and Fabulous Family Meals. Now you can go to the store and buy masa harina flour, but I choose to use freshly milled corn flour. And that uses dried corn or popcorn, and I put it right in my Wonder Mill, and it grinds it to a beautiful flour. And then I use hard white wheat for the tortilla to give it some body and some flexibility, because the corn does not have the same type of gluten. So we're going to mill some dried corn right now in the Wonder Mill and make some beautiful corn flour. And we have some beautifully milled corn flour from our Wonder Mill. Now we're going to go by my book, which is Basic Corn and Wheat Wrappers, on page 30. For every cup of water, we're going to put in 1 cup of corn flour. So I've got 1 in here, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'm going to put 2 cups of flour, and this is freshly ground, hard, whole wheat flour. And I'm going to put my salt. At this point, sometimes people like to use baking soda and baking powder. You can do that. And then I'm going to put 4 cups of hot water, because we started with 4 cups of corn flour. Okay, so now you see that we have this sort of wet dough. We're going to stir it and see how much more of the whole wheat flour we need. We're going to keep adding whole wheat flour until we get a workable sticky dough. As you can see, it's getting thicker and holding together better, but it's still not thick enough to be able to turn out and knead. So I'm going to add some more whole wheat flour. This is very much dependent upon the air and the humidity in your part of the country. Okay, as you can see, it's really coming together well, and all of the dry bits have been pulled up from the bottom and mixed together. Now I'm going to knead this a little bit and probably add just a little bit more whole wheat flour so that it gets nice and smooth and supple. And then we're going to let it rest before we roll out our corn and wheat tortillas. And I'll be back in a few minutes. Now you can tell that we've been mixing and kneading this for about 3 minutes, and it's pulled into itself, it's pulled away from the bowl, and it's holding together. This is the perfect kind of dough. You see, it's very supple and it's moist, but it's not tacky. So this is when I'm going to take it down and wrap it up and let it sit for 30 minutes to rest before we come back and roll out our tortillas. Welcome back to our kitchen. This is Vickilynn with RealFoodLiving.com, and I've let the corn and wheat tortilla dough rest, and now I'm just patting it out, and it's pretty soft. So you have to be careful. I like to put a little extra of the corn flour that I milled in my Wonder Mill to keep it from sticking. There are several ways to do this. I like to do it by hand. You can do it with a press if you like. You can do it with the bottom of the skillet, and you roll it out or hand pat it out to whatever thickness that you like. And then simply put it in an ungreased skillet, and once you have it in the ungreased skillet, you let it cook for just a few minutes until it is brown or bubbly, and then you take it off and put it on a rack to cool. And then you continue with the other ones. Now, what I'm going to do with these is make tortilla chips, and I'll come back and make a separate video for that. So we're going to keep doing these tortillas. Okay, we're going to do another tortilla. Now what I've done is I've weighed these, and you can make them any size that you want. I wanted to make about 6-inch ones, so I have 3 ounces of dough here. I like to weigh them so that they are consistent, same size Okay, so I've got a little corn flour here, and then I'm just going to pat this out with my hand, and I'm going to round it as I'm doing it. And you can do this all the way with your hand and not use the rolling pin at all if you like. Just make sure it doesn't stick to the board. I like to use cast iron for my tortillas. Just does a great job. Okay, now I'm going to flip this one over in the pan, and if you see it's lightly browned and it has some bubbling there, it's going to make great tortillas and tortilla chips. And I've got this next one ready. I usually have 2 cast iron skillets on the stove at the same time so I can move one to the other to the other. Alright, this one's just about ready to move over, and then this one's ready to go on the pan. Well, thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen. Thank you for going down the road of corn tortillas. Well, this is Vickilynn Haycraft saying thank you so much for joining me in my Real Food Kitchen and joining me on my Wrapping It Up journey today, making sensational all-occasion wrappers and fabulous family meals. Today we made corn and wheat wrappers. So drop me a line, let me know if you have any questions, and come back and see me again. Thank you. Bye-bye.